Okay, before kickoff of the Texans-Cowboys game, parts of the roof of AT&T Stadium were falling. Big sheets of metal were coming down. How perfect is that, right? I mean, this isn't very difficult. So if you want to do it right now, as if you haven't been doing it for the past 24 hours, insert your roof is caving in metaphor. Now, go. Now, let me set this up because Gerald Jones, not surprisingly, I would say conveniently, doesn't get it. Conveniently, the old man is pretending to be confused, or maybe he really is. But I want to point something out. There is a difference between playing badly and being bad. Now, think that through, because he says they're just playing badly. I'm trying to tell you they're just bad. Now, that is exactly what both sides of that, playing badly and then being bad, were on display last night. Both of those are the perfect description of your Dallas Cowboys and then your Houston Texans. I think both of those things fit. They fit very well right now, and it should be a concern. One is gone, done, finished. It's a dumpster fire. But the Texans are playing badly. The Cowboys are really bad. Okay? Let's see if our takeaways match up today. Being bad is a problem, okay? Being bad and dumb is catastrophic. The Dallas Cowboys are bad. They're terrible. Can't say it enough. There's no fixing that, all blah, blah, blah. There's nothing more to do. That's a bad team. But when their head coach does dumb things, they're extra awful. Now, this is going to be one of those times where you're going to want to argue with me. And I think you're going to be wrong, but that's okay. A lot of you seem to a lot of you, I know you do. You come at me like, I've stolen your lunch or something, but a lot of you seem to like going against the odds, the football odds. You don't like to recognize the odds. You don't like anything that is remotely conservative about the game. You want to see coaches and players go all in. I don't. I think it's a bad idea. I've been around the game forever, and I'm just telling you the basics should just stay the basics. Don't tinker. Don't screw with it. Don't take risks. Perfect example of the danger of taking ridiculous risks. There are some fairly calculated risks when it comes to football, and there are some ridiculous risks. And I'll just tell all of you, for the rare times, it does happen. I mean, sometimes teams go for it on 4th and 4 and their own end, and it works out. You got Seaward, you suck. See what happened. Rare times, the stuff does sometimes work out. But stack that up against, when you take real risks, stack that up against what goes wrong, horribly wrong, when it doesn't work. See, then the dumb decision, it blows up in your face. I give you two perfect examples of how taking risks is usually a dumb thing to do. Don't do it. I don't know. I repeat it every week, about 4 or 5 games a week when you go, yeah, Ward, see, that worked out. I'm telling you, don't do it. 2 examples. This is a desperate team, a coach who may have just mailed it in, or a coach that is really just stupid. Doesn't matter. The results are the same. Dallas runs a fake punt from their own 37. The pass completion, for those that didn't know this last night, was read perfectly. And then Houston blew the play up and went on to score shortly after. Now, just so you know, just so we can start to do the calculus here. So as we have these arguments throughout the year and you want to fight with me, just so you know how dumb that is to run a fake punt, how desperate that is to run a fake punt, do the math, okay? You snap the ball back 15 yards to the punter. You then, at the moment, Dallas was facing 4th and 9 from their own 35 or 37 or something like that. So that means you need a 25-yard completion to convert. You need a 25-yard completion from your punter to some backup player of some kind. That's a really dumb thing to do, that if it works, all of you cheer it on. The rare time it ever works, you cheer it on. Usually it doesn't work and it blows up in your face and it's dumb. The next move was really, really shockingly dumb. It became a 10-point mistake. Again, I would just challenge all of you, right? Whether it's the bad Dallas Cowboys or a good game, just learn to think of things, take your feelings out of it. Do the Ward thing where you watch a game with no feeling whatsoever. Just look at it as science, and you'll start to appreciate how these risks are really stupid. Mike McCarthy's already fired. I would have fired him as soon as he did this. I would say, can you give me the headphones right now? I need you to leave and get your box and go away. Don't ever try to think that this is a good idea. So it's a 10-point mistake. Where I come from in my life, one thing you don't do, if you have like just fundamental rules that you have to follow. Remember, the sport is not complicated. The game is really not complicated. You never, ever take points off the board. Did you hear me? Don't do it. Oh, but Jeff, 1 out of 100. Don't ever let your mind go there. Okay? Let me double down. You never take points off the scoreboard, especially if you've just kicked a 64-yard freaking field goal. The ball's not at the 1. It's not at the 3. It's at close to midfield, you fools. Absolute fools. Whether your name was Mike McCarthy or not, whoever your boss is should say, I need you to give that headset to another coach. You need to leave the stadium because under no circumstances anyone ever take points off the scoreboard. What that means is, oh, there's a penalty on the play. Well, maybe, just maybe we'll get 4 more points than 3 and we'll get 7 points. So we'll just go ahead and take the risk in doing that. It doesn't work. Ever. I don't know how many times in my life I've heard coaches, smart coaches, fundamental coaches say, don't ever take the points off the board. So here's what mumbling Mike McCarthy and a pathetic train wreck of a football team did last night. They just kicked, Brandon Aubrey kicks a 64-yard field goal, which is like nothing to him. It's like 34 yards to him. So that field goal made it a 1-score game. This is a terrible Dallas team that is scratching and clawing for every single point. So that field goal from 64 made it a 1-score game. A 1-score game against the Texans and an offense that's struggling. Okay? That's a pretty good thing. You're in a pretty good position then. That's a Texans team that you're now in a 1-score game at home when you're a terrible football team in a game you probably have no business being in a 1-score game. It's also against a Texans team that a week ago, was it a week ago? Yeah, or 2 weeks ago, they blew a 16-point lead. Here's the situation. Please just let this register to you. You may just walk by a TV and say, well, I heard that Ward guy say you never take points off the board. That's because you never take points off the board. You fool. Cowboys down by 10. Got a 64-yard field goal from Brandon Aubrey to make it a 1-score game with 4 minutes and 16 seconds left to play in the third quarter. Okay, by every measurement, that's a pretty good place to be. 1 score when you suck is better than being down by 30. Don't mess with the scoreboard, ever. Well, there was a head slap foul by the Texans defensive lineman Derek Bennett. Mike McCarthy, who is going to get fired, but I would have fired him about this very moment. I would say, I need you to leave. That's it. Okay? But he didn't, because I think his owner thinks it's a cool idea. And I think a lot of fans think it's a cool idea. And you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. So what they did was they took the points off the board. They make the field goal and said, we'll take the penalty. Okay? A lot of you go, yeah, cool. That's aggressive, Jeff. No. Rethink that. Whenever I hear analysts now say aggressive, I think stupid.